Good morning. Myself Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, Government College of Engineering, Sengipati, Tanjavur. Today, I am going to explain the concept of object-oriented programming concept in Java. So simply we call as OOPS concepts in Java. Generally we call it OOPS concepts. So normally, so I think before the root concept, there is a methodology they are followed that is called procedure-oriented approach. So in this procedure-oriented approach, means that always that a developer will looking for the perspective of the user, along with then the additional information also which is related to the applications also will be considered. It means that, for example, I'm looking to can develop in a project for a simple for calculation of addition of two numbers. So I mean the addition of five subject marks. Assume that I am going to calculate for addition of five subject marks. So if I follow the concept of procedure oriented, this is the mark relator. So that along with the addition of the 5 marks, also I am going to find the average of all those 5 marks also need to be calculated, because this is called procedure oriented. So whenever you are going to follow the procedure oriented concept, so we must to look on that additional properties also need to be considered along with the perspective of the user. So that always it leads to the complicated while developing the applications. So in order to avoid these issues, so we are moving from that application, that's a procedure-oriented concept into object-oriented concepts. So while moving from the procedure-oriented to object-oriented concept, so there are different properties. There are different advantages we have. It means that the procedure-oriented concepts have some drawbacks. The first drawback is the procedure-oriented concepts is looking on only not only the perspective, although it also to think on your extraneous activities, extraneous functionalities are in a project. So it leads to that, it leads to the more cost needed for the development, and as well as we need the more amount of time needed for the development. And the second one is the procedure-oriented concept. That means the procedure-oriented approach will not give a major importance for computational environment. That means interactive supports, and also will not support for reusable property, and also it is very difficult for modification and also for the extensions. You see, there are some of the drawbacks of object procedure-oriented concepts. So that we are move on with. So we need to eliminate all these problems, because in the future means in development, especially for software development, so object-oriented means these kind of problems need to be eliminated. So this problem will be eliminated through the concept of object-oriented. So whenever if you are saying the project problem is coming under object-oriented, or maybe we must to understand what are the basic elements or a basic concept of whose properties. So the basic elements are one is a class, object, data abstraction and encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, message passing, and dynamic binding. In that, the basic properties is class, object, message, data abstraction, message passing, and dynamic binding is normally will satisfy in any application, but the important whose properties are encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So first of all, we must know what is class. The first property is a class. So normally, the class provides a general format, or maybe we call it as a template for all the objects. So the class is collection of the data, and it is a collection of operation which is operated on the data. So normally, this class consists of variables and also the class which we define by the user. It will be defined by the user. Let us take a simple example. I'm going to say it is a banking application. So in the banking application, for example, inputs, it is a properties of the class. So the data are like a customer name, customer ID, then address, maybe photo. So these are some of the attributes. That's the data members of the class. And along with we need like withdraw, deposit, balance inquiry, mini statement. These are some of the operation which is operated on the data members. So that is called as a class. So normally the class provides a template for all the objects, and this template consists of both data members and as well as operations, those which is operated on the function, and it will be defined by the user. It provides only the general format. So even if you are taking for any banking, the format is common, but that the name, the usage by the different banking sector is different things. So the next thing is an object. Object is simply we call object is called an instance of the class, or maybe we call as a runtime entity. So here in the class, it contains only the variables. But for objects, it contains only the real values. It means that with the help of object only, we are able to store only the real values. So, so the object, it takes the template of the class, which is the template which is provided by the class, and it will be used by that object, used by the class, so used by the object for store operation purpose. So normally we call object is called as a blueprint of a building. Similarly, we call as a blueprint of a building. So normally this object is a basic elements, a basic unit for accessing the data element and member function of the class template. So the third one is called the data abstraction and the encapsulation. So this is the important feature of object-oriented programming. So normally the data abstraction is the hiding of implementation details. So normally only we are looking only for the entire feature which is spoken only for the user development. So normally it will reduce the complexity of the programming, and also it provides a concept of implementation hiding through the concept of access modifiers. So like public, private, and as well as default. It means that normally the data abstraction always took for guiding a background informations. So the next one is the data encapsulation. So generally encapsulation means wrapping or joining of the class property, the building blocks of your objects into a one single unit. That is called as encapsulation. That is a wrapping of data members and member function into a single units. And so then also it solves the problem of implementation issues. And the next important feature of object-oriented programming is called as inheritance. That is a fourth property. Here, so I assume that I have some predefined classes. So I want to use this predefined classes in my application, so that it is a process of accessing the property of a parent classes into the child class. That is called simply we call as super classes to subclass relationship exists. Concept of reusability, and also this inheritance to always to establish the relationship between the classes. It may be it's a part of a class or maybe has a relationship property. So there are two properties can be satisfied. One is a part or or maybe a part of or maybe has a property. Next one is a polymorphism. Polymorphism always to poly means the ability to take a more than one form. So normally we can means that we can define the operations in a different behaviors. So normally it is also an important properties of hooks. It can be a two type. One is a compile time or static polymorphism, and next one is a runtime polymorphism. In a static polymorphism, it's we called as overloading. The same function name, same number of different number of arguments defined single class is called overloading. And for runtime polymorphism, it means a function overriding, but the same function name, same number of arguments defined in different classes. It means that parent and subclasses. And the message passing, it is a very, very important property. So if you want to perform any operation, the message must be shared between the function calls, so that it will be achieved. Means the values which is shared between the different process through message passing. So the message passing can be achieved in two ways. Either we are passing the value as a value, or maybe we are passing the reference as an argument. For through that the message passing will be happening. It means that we are going to define the communication pathway. And the next one is called dynamic binding. It is also called as a run binding or maybe a late binding. It means that we are going to link the corresponding procedure function call during the execution of the program. So it will be decided only at the time of running, so that it is also achieved through the method overriding. Also, normally static binding. There are two types of binding. Late binding also we have. Static binding also we have. So normally the late binding always give in the programming the late binding. So we normally use it to bind with our code. Means normally bind with our information. So this is a simple property of these are the 7 important property of a OOPS. So once again, I want to recall it. What is the OOPS concept? Whenever when the language is called as a OOPS, means object-oriented programming language, it must satisfy the 7 or 8 elements. That is the 7 elements. So here I am going to just rename it just to 5. 6 and 7, there are several important elements of OOPS property. Uh, the first important properties is called as a class template for data members and methods. These methods will be operated on this data. So normally class must be in a user-defined data type. So based on the requirement and the perspective of the user, where the user can define the data members and as well as a method for that. So user-defined data, and it provides only a variables. It will not provide the exact value for that. And the next one is called as an object. So for class, the example, we can give simple examples. So for example, for bank is one of the class. So bank customers are called as objects. Next one is called object. Normally object is called as a runtime entity, or otherwise we call as an instance of a class. So this object must use the template which is provided by the class. So whenever the object created, only the memory will be allocated. And very, very important for a class, no memory will be allocated for data member. So no memory locations will be allocated for data members. Only the memory will be allocated for objects. So that only we are saying that the class provides a template for our concept for information. But the object means that it is an instance of class, or maybe we call as a runtime entity. It means that the object which use the properties of objects, means the properties of the class, so that whenever the object is created, the memory will be allocated for the data members and the common memory location for the data members and methods. Okay, and third one is called data abstraction and implementation. Data abstraction means hiding of data, means hiding of background details. It is called hiding of implementation details from the end user. So normally it can be achieved with that, and also we are going to hiding the information which is not accessible by the invalid users, unauthorized user. It can be achieved with the help of private, public, product, and default access modifiers. Okay. Next one is called encapsulation. So encapsulation is a call of wrapping up data members and member function in a single unit is called as an encapsulation. So encapsulation is one of the important property for object-oriented programming. And next one is called inheritance. Inheritance is always establish a concept to implement the concept of reusability, so that in this